Yo, it's Blends by Zach, and today we are going to be doing a taper tutorial. I'm going to show you how to get your tapers going from this to this. Now look, let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to wet the hair, and we're going to start making our first sections by the crown. I came from dirt, still came fuck, I put in the work. Pin in a picture when I write lyrics, don't call me a rapper, I'm really an artist. This weren't by chance or luck, I took one shot and I hit my target. I'm not even yet in my prime, I'm not 100, yeah, I'm still charging. They don't wanna see me win, but my biggest concern when doing blowout tapers is the back bulk. You wanna make sure that the bulk looks controlled and also doesn't look too bulky. It should just look textured with some blowout to it. And take these risks. Made racks off putting my pain on tracks, grinding hard trying to see more plaques. I've been going harder than ever, I don't have time to sit and relax. I've been putting in countless hours. And one thing you can notice is when I'm making these cuts, I'm not cutting flat, I'm cutting little bit by little bit by little bit. And what this does is this creates texture throughout the back. I'm picking a first. You can't tell me that won't make it. Knew that I had this skill since birth. Grinding, came out the mud like Roddy. I had nobody, I came from dirt. Pinning a picture when I write lyrics on cool. And now that we have our bulk guideline, we're gonna match the guidelines. We're going from the bottom to the top now, instead of top to the bottom. And all I'm doing here is making little snips and just matching that line so that we can get as much blowout as possible. That line right there is exactly where we want to be, right below the occipital bone. Now that the back is taken care of, we're going to go straight to the top. I'm going to start by making a middle part from the crown towards the nose so that we have the exact shape of the head. This is what your part should look like. When it comes to cutting the top and adding texture, we're going to be point cutting. Now you're going to point cut throughout the rest of the head, and you're just going to match guideline to guideline, picking up your previous cut each time that you're about to make a new cut. Notice that I can see my guideline each time that I'm picking up a new thing of hair, and I'm just matching the guideline. Also, when we're cutting the top of the hair, we are not going in a flat line. We are trying to make it like an arch, like the St. Louis arch. We're trying to match the head shape. The reason we do this is so that we can get the correct bulk amount without having too much weight on top. Now, when cutting the bangs, we're going to start with a horseshoe in front. And the reason we do this is so that we hide those corners. Not everybody has the flattest hairline, and especially with people who have hairstyles like this with lots of bulk. The reason for these styles is to cover that forehead, but do it correctly. The reason we do this is so that the bangs don't have too much weight on them and they can still get some fluff in the air. And now that all of the weight is taken care of, we're going to go straight into making sure that the bangs are right where he wants it. He asked to keep the bangs right at the eyebrows, so here I'm only going to be cutting the tips and very little. Also, when I'm cutting his bangs, I'm not cutting in a flat form, I'm doing point cuts. If I was to cut it really harsh at a flat point, he is going to get a harsh lineup looking bang. That is the last thing we want. We want to give that fluff. So we're going to cross cut the bangs, and we're going to make sure that there's no weight on top. The back is good, the front is good. Now we're moving on to the side. We're going to part it from the crown to the corner on both sides. And the reason we do this is so that we can depict the side blowout. Now, when I'm cutting, I'm not cutting up at a straight form. I'm cutting at an angle. Just like this. So once that side is complete,
We're going to move on to the other side, doing the same thing. If you have to wet the hair again, wet the hair again. That is never an issue. You can always dry it. So here we're just making ends meet, going from bottom to top, making sure that we're still cutting at an angle to give that blowout look. And now this is what the cut should look like with just shear work. Let's get into the fades. We're going to start with the foreguard and we're going to depict the bulk line, going right at the occipital bone with the foreguard. When we're cutting the back, let's make sure that we are not cutting harsh and straight up. We're flicking out with this larger guard so that we can make the look of a blowout. When I'm going over the occipital bone, I'm not having the guard all the way on his head. I'm lightly easing it off once I hit the occipital bone so that we can build the shape of the head. And since we hit the foreguard already, now we're going to make the two guard. The reason we do this is the foreguard is going to build the bulk line and the two guard is going to start our fade line. So now we know where to put the fade in between. So after we have that, we're going to start our bald line. I make the bald line at the lowest point of the taper. And once I have that bald line set, I'm going to go in with the 1.5. So now I know my whole fade scale. The 1.5 is going to match the 2 into 4. And yes, some of you professional barbers may question why I'm doing so many strokes with the 1.5, and that is because I'm detailing throughout the fade process. Not only am I just doing the fade process, I'm also detailing throughout. So that saves me a lot of time. Now we're gonna go in with the no guard open, and we're gonna take out that bald line, that harsh bald line. Once you got that harsh bald line out and you have started your new line, we're going to take the 1 guard and we're going to match that to the 1.5, getting us ready for the detailing with the 0.5 guard. Now we're going to grab that 0.5 guard and we're going to go straight into detail, opening and closing the lever and trying to get these lines to connect correctly. After you detail a little bit with the 0.5, we're going to go in with no guard open and also no guard closed, and we're going to be using just the corner of the blade. Notice here I'm only using the right corner of the blade. Right corner. Heavy on using the corners of the blade so you can get that very clean detail. And yes, I know you're sitting at home wondering why there's such a thick line right here on the bulk, but this is my favorite part. We're going to clipper over comb the bald spots into the bulk so that we can get as much blowout but also a great gradiency in the fade. Now once we have it all ready in the back, this is exactly what your back should look like. I didn't like the shape of the back, so I came in and I went through the back ear just to make sure that everything's looking as good as I want it to be. Perfect. Now that I got that shape, we're going to start going in and grabbing our trimmers to start this lineup. I'm using the Wall Gold detailers today. I'm going to start right behind the ears. so I can see the natural line the most. Making sure that this is the sharpest line on the head. And yes, we're going to do the same thing to both sides, and I'm going to use this trimmer to make sure that the baldness gets even balder. You can never go too bald on a bald taper.
Everybody put your hands up, let's party. Everybody bounce with me, some champagne and burn a little.
Now this is exactly what your back taper should look like. Blurry, blowout, all of it in one. And now we're going to start shaping the head again by using a clipper over comb, but using our trimmers. I'm going to start with the lineup. Foundation first on my tapers. I start with the lineup so I know exactly where to go with each guard. Yeah, my boy right here likes to keep some of that side bulk, so we're going to take that foreguard and we're going to go straight up to about the temple. The reason we do this is so that we can still create a shape, but start the gradiency of the fade. And for my side tapers, I like to start with the guard closed, and I'm going to make my little arch to keep depth in the corners, and I'm going to go no guard open into the 1.5 guard that I just made. Yes, I'm stretching my lines right now, but you'll see why in a second. Now that I have that line, I'm going to take that 1 guard and match it into that 1.5 guard that I used earlier. And you can already see that the fade is starting to fade, except at the barber's eye, there's still some dark spots. We're gonna go in with that 1.5 and we're gonna make that bulk line disappear. Start fading that 1 into that 1.5 that we made earlier. And the reason we do this is so that we don't have any bulk buildup on the sides. Now we're going to bust out that 0.5 and we're going to detail everything that we can, making sure that this thing looks as blurry as possible. Opening and closing the lever, and also only using the corners while detailing. Notice, this is the right side of his head, so I'm using the left corner of the blade. Opening and closing, making sure that I get this taper as blurry as possible. Now we're going no guard, open, straight into it, making sure that our bald line matches that 0.5 that we just made. Pretty straightforward. And yes, you might be wondering why I have this dark spot right here. I'm leaving it dark for the corners of the C cups. Very important, especially for people who don't have the flattest hairline. The reason we do this is so that we can make sure everything is sharp, clean, and suits the head shape. And now that I did that on both sides, I'm going to point cut the taper and make sure everything looks as crispy as possible. I'm using the tip of the shears to match the bulk line, and that's exactly what the taper should look like. Now we're going to go straight into the styling. today I'm using sea salt spray from level 3, some pomade from level 3, and these two together, oh my goodness, man, let me tell you, it's a blessing. And we're gonna mix this straight into the hair, and you're gonna notice that the texture is starting to rise. That's why we like to thin out the hair. And now that we got everything styled, crispy, we're gonna give them that alcohol. And of course, my boy asked last second for a little eyebrow slit, so we're gonna have to do it. One thing that I do every time I do an eyebrow slit is I make sure that the eyebrow is also lined up, and that will make my line sharper as well. And this is what the taper should look like with that eyebrow slit. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. I greatly appreciate it if you stayed and watched this tutorial. This is what the taper should look like. Keep it nice and blurry. This is Blends by Zach, also known as Zach Gates, and I'm here to teach you guys how to cut. Thank you so much, and I hope this is what you guys are looking for. Peace.